What's up, guys? My name's Brandon and welcome back to Apple Weekly. This past week was interesting because we got some new software updates, but not exactly the ones that we were expecting. So we're going to talk about that along with an update on the two latest versions of iOS 15.5 and 15.6 Beta 1. And after we discuss the software side of things, we're going to talk about the new iPhone 14 and Apple Watch Series 8 leaks, a mystery Apple product that we might be seeing later this year, how someone got $40,000 stolen from their Apple Watch while at Disney, and more. And as always, if you guys want to stay updated with all things Apple, make sure to click that subscribe button down below so you don't miss next week's Apple Weekly episode. All right, so as always, let's start off with the latest Apple software news. And first up, version 15.5.1 was released, but not for the iPhone, not iOS 15.5.1, tvOS and HomePodOS version 15.5.1. Now, both fix the same bug. So you can see here, this is the pop-up we got for the software update, and it says 15.5.1 addresses an issue where music could stop playing after a short time. So a pretty minor bug that obviously did affect the HomePod, the Apple TV, and really even your iPhone as well. If you played music from your iPhone, this could have been seen as an iOS 15.5 bug, but that's all we got today. We did not get a 15.5.1 update for iOS, but we may see that sometime in the near future. We'll have to wait and see. We'll talk more about that near the end of this video. Now, also, Apple did stop signing iOS 15.4.1, so you are not able to downgrade from 15.5 to 15.4.1, which does usually indicate a new software update is coming within the next couple of weeks. It's not always a direct indicator of that, but it has been proven true for the past few times. So I would expect to see a 15.5.1 relatively soon, and if we don't get that, then we may just see a 15.6. The 15.6, which is in beta right now, get released ahead of schedule. We'll have to wait and see. Now, one of the main features in iOS 15.5 is the Apple Account Card. So this is a feature we talked about throughout the beta stages and in the final release video of 15.5, but it was actually never able to be, seen on our device. It was only in the code. That is until just on Wednesday when Apple pushed this out via their side, a server-side push, and we can see that it now shows up inside of the wallet application. So now on iOS 15.5 and later, if you click on the little plus icon on the wallet application, you will see that we now have a section here that says add Apple account. Once you tap on that, you will get this prompt right here. Use your account balance to purchase products, apps, games, music, and more. So you can see that is what it looks like. You click on continue, and then it will add your card. It will also show your balance right there. And then once you have it added, this is what the Apple account card looks like inside of the wallet application. You could use it just like you use your Apple Card or your Apple Pay Cash card or your debit card, whatever you have linked up inside of Apple Pay. It shows up just like that. And speaking of the wallet application, we now have an additional state that's been added for the digital driver's license. So we go to our wallet app and tap on the plus up in the top right, and then tap on driver's license or state ID, we could see that we now not only have Arizona, but also Maryland. So there are now two states that allow the digital ID right here. And if you tap on Maryland, you can see you get the prompt right here to add your Maryland driver's license. And we have the cool little crab icon right there. So as I've said in the past, this is going to be a slower rollout because it does have a lot to do with state regulations and state laws. So it will be rolling out to other states over time, but again, it will be a very slow process. Apple also just recently added new watch faces and new watch bands for Pride Month in June. So if you go into the watch application and then go down to Face Gallery, you will see the new watch faces right up here. It's called Pride Threads, and there are two different variations. If you tap on it right there, we have the background on version, which is like a light version, and then the background off version, which is like a dark version right there. So pretty cool new watch faces. And we do also have the new watch bands, as you can see right here. Also this week, Apple revealed the WWDC 2022 schedule. So you can see this was a press release on their website. This is the press image for this year's WWDC. So it looks like a real focus on memojis. Maybe we see something with AR and VR. We'll have to wait and see on that. But we can see this is the official schedule. So the keynote starts at 10 a.m. Pacific on June 6th. Just as expected. We will see iOS 16 Beta 1 after that. Then we have the Platforms State of the Union at 1 p.m. Pacific, the Apple Design Awards at June 6th at 5 p.m. Pacific, and then we have access to the experts right here beginning on June 7th, and then we have the other activities, the Swift Student Challenge, and other things mentioned here as well. So if you want to read through the full schedule, I will leave this linked down in the description below. But the main thing to note here is that the keynote does in fact start at 1 p.m. Pacific on June 6th. Now, another feature that was mentioned in the code of iOS 15.5 is tap to pay. And we can see that this is now available in App Store. So this was a tweet that went viral showing off tap to pay actually working in a Apple, retail store. So this is available in Apple stores, but it's not available like peer-to-peer yet. Like you cannot do this with a friend just yet, but it is in the code of 15.5. So it appears that it is coming pretty soon, but it was pretty cool to see this actually working like out in the wild. So I talked about 15.5.1 for tvOS and HomePodOS earlier, but we are still expecting in iOS 15.5.1 at some point to fix that nasty bug we talked about on last week's episode, where some users reported that their iMessage and FaceTime would just randomly get disabled and there was no way to turn it back on. Like you could not FaceTime or you could not message anybody without getting a brand new SIM card. So this is a pretty nasty bug. Obviously it's not widespread whatsoever. It's a very, niche bug, but it is something out there that is affecting users. So for that reason alone, I would expect Apple to push out an update sometime soon. And somebody on Twitter asked me why, this isn't the top of their priority. And I think it is. I just think this is a bug that's a lot more advanced to fix than something else. Like this is probably not something that you could just reproduce very easily. It's probably something that's just kind of random. I'm not too sure. All I know is it's not a simple bug to fix, and it's definitely something that affects users, at a very deep level. Like it's talking about iMessage and FaceTime. Apple doesn't want to mess that up, so it's going to take a little bit of time to fix that versus something like preventing music from stopping on your HomePod. That's a very easy fix for Apple. So they're still fixing it. They're still working on it. Obviously, there's a separate team for iOS versus all the other platforms. So it's not like Apple is only focusing on these other smaller things instead of iOS. There's a specific team for iOS, and I'm sure they're very well aware of this and trying to work on a fix. Now, as far as a follow-up review on iOS 15.5, it's been running great in terms of both performance and battery life. Some people have been reporting overheating and battery drain issues recently, but I hear that with literally every single update, no matter what. And it's 98% of the time user error. So I would not pay any mind to that. I mean, if you are one of those people, I would check my battery saving tips videos, just make sure you're actually using your phone right, because most people are having a great experience with 15.5. And as I mentioned last week, there are a ton of security patches in that update. So if you are still, on 15.4.1 and you haven't decided to update yet, I would go ahead and update to 15.5 if I were you, just to keep your device as secure as possible. And you could also see some improvements to your performance or battery life. Now, as far as iOS 15.6 beta 1, it's not been too great. The performance and the battery life took a step backwards from 15.5, so I would not update to 15.6 beta 1. If you haven't done so already, I would just wait for at least beta 2. Honestly though, if you're on, the beta program, I would just wait until iOS 16 beta 1 at this point. Just stay on 15.5, completely ignore 15.6. I know that's going to hurt my views here on the channel, but I don't care. Don't update to 15.6, the betas, if I were you. I would just wait till iOS 16. It's really not that great, and you're not going to get a ton of new features, so there's kind of no point. Unless you have a test device, of course. If you have a test device, then why not? You can update to whatever you want. All right, so now let's talk about what is next for Apple. So next up is most likely going to be iOS 15.6 beta 2. So we are on a 2-week beta cycle, so I think that next week we should see 15.6 beta 2. Now Monday is Memorial Day, so we're not going to see any iOS release on Monday, but we could see it on Tuesday, the 31st, all the way through, I would say maybe June 2nd. So sometime between the 31st and June 2nd, we should see 15.6 beta 2. And then as I mentioned earlier, we should also see a 15.5.1 at some point to fix that SIM card issue, that, iMessage and FaceTime issue. So maybe in the first or second week of June. Just because we're getting iOS 16 beta 1 does not mean we won't see a 15.5.1. So we could even see it that same week. We'll have to wait and see, but I would expect to see that sometime soon. And of course, like I mentioned, we do get iOS 16 beta 1 right there on June 6th. And we're not expecting the public beta this time until sometime in July. So keep that in mind if you are on the public beta program. All right, so now let's move on to the latest Apple news. So let's start off with the latest iPhone 14 leaks, because now we have even more details on the upcoming phone, and now we know almost everything about it. So this latest leak comes courtesy of John Prosser and Ian Zelbo, who give us a look at the most realistic renders we've seen yet. And these renders are based off previous leaks, so nothing is guaranteed to happen, but there is a strong likelihood that this is what the 14 Pro is going to look like. And on the front, we have that pill-shaped cutout to house the camera and the Face ID sensor, and along the edges of the display we can see much slimmer bezels. It's pretty close to edge, at least based on this render, which is going to look awesome in person. The edges do also appear to be more rounded this year. And on the backside, we get a look at how that massive camera array is going to look. And this is going to house that new 48 megapixel camera system, which has a 57% larger sensor and 8K video recording. So we do also get continued rumors that a purple iPhone is coming this year, which I will most definitely be getting. That's going to be the #1 phone I'm going to be chasing after. I don't know why, but purple is easily one of my favorite iPhone colors of all time, especially on the iPhone 12. And this time it looks a little bit lighter, which I'm sure will appeal to a larger crowd, and I'm not, upset at that at all. I like the lighter colors, just like we got this year with that Sierra Blue. Now, as for the Apple Watch Series 8, we can expect some design changes here as well. So Shrimp Apple Pro shared this image on Twitter recently, and he said that this flat look is likely the front glass for the Apple Watch Series 8. And if this sounds familiar, obviously it is. This is exactly what we said last year, what a lot of people said was coming last year, but it never happened. So it seems more likely that this year we will actually get this design change. Maybe all the rumors were just a year ahead, but this is what it should look like this time around. And we're expecting 3 new Apple Watch models this year. So the Series 8, a new Apple Watch SE, and a more rugged Explorer Edition Apple Watch. So we don't know whether or not that new design is going to be on just the Series 8 or all 3, but my guess is that the new SE will definitely keep the older design since it's going to be cheaper. It's going to be like the iPhone SE, and the Explorer Edition likely will have that same old design as well, just with maybe some added material to make it tougher against bangs and falls. Now, we know to expect a new iPhone, a new iPad, and a new Apple Watch every year, but a lot of the other products just pop up whenever they're ready and are harder to predict, especially when there has never been a mention or any type of rumor about said product. And that's the case with the mysterious network adapter from Apple. So this actually made, headlines because it was in a recent FCC filing, and it's been going through testing, and this product is defined as a network adapter that includes an integrated battery, 2 gigabit Ethernet ports, a USB-C connector, a USB-A port, and an antenna. It also has Bluetooth and NFC, so we don't know exactly what this is and if it's, meant for consumers or if it's just meant for, use in an Apple store, but we should see something relatively soon about this. I just found that pretty interesting. And then finally, let's discuss how a woman apparently got more than $40,000 stolen from her Apple Watch while at Disney. So according to the police report, a woman had her Hermes Apple Watch fall off of her wrist while on a ride at Epcot. And after realizing it and seeing the watch on the pathway below, her husband jumped off the moving ride to try to retrieve it, and that's when a cast member stepped in, a worker, at Disney stepped in and said that Disney would return the watch to their hotel. He wasn't, allowing him to pick up the watch, but as you guessed it, the watch never turned up and employees denied ever having it. So the woman apparently had several credit cards linked to her watch, including an American Express with an unlimited credit line. So after losing the watch, she got several fraud alerts throughout the day, and there was approximately $40,000 of fraudulent charges on her card before she closed out that card and all of her other credit cards. So as of now, nobody's been charged and it's being investigated, but let this just be a reminder to not have an easy password like 0000 on your Apple Watch if you have it set up with Apple Pay. And it's also a reminder to tighten your Apple Watch band or just take it off if you're on a ride at a theme park. That should be pretty obvious, especially an Hermes Apple Watch. I mean, I would never even wear that to a park. That's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. But anyways, guys, there you have it. That is the latest batch of Apple news from this past week, along with some additional info on iOS 15.5 and iOS 15.6 beta 1, along with what to expect next from Apple. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to subscribe for more Apple content just like this one. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.